Let's turn to Hong Kong, where the streets are quieter today, but the city itself does remain on edge. In less than 24 hours, local elections will be taking place, and all eyes will be on the results, which could indicate just how much support actually remains in Hong Kong for the central government in Beijing.
I don't think any violence will be involved because everyone wants to voice out what they think.
Hong Kong has seen 7 months of political unrest, and these are the first elections since anti-government demonstrations began last spring. Protest groups are calling for calm ahead of Election Day. They are urging people to not disrupt the democratic process. Well, this year's version of the Halifax International Security Forum stepped directly into the conflict between Beijing and the protesters in Hong Kong. The forum awarded the people of that city the John McCain Prize for Leadership in Public Service. And for more on this, we have one of the award recipients joining us right now. Emily Lau joins us from the Halifax Security Forum. She is a former chairperson of the Democratic Party of Hong Kong. Ms. Lau, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, thank you.
I want to begin here with some of the words that were shared by Cindy McCain, of course, the widow of the late John McCain, for whom this award is named. And she said the following: "I hope this tribute to those who are struggling for their rights in Hong Kong will encourage more people around the world to raise their voices in support of their cause, especially in my country's government. They are fighting for something larger than themselves." Ms. Lau, how significant are Cindy McCain's words to you?
Well, very significant. I think Mrs. McCain was reminding her own government and her Congress, her president, and of course, American people and people around the world that there are people who are struggling, who are dying, who are making huge sacrifices to fight for these core values that we all, people who live in the civilized world, should share. So when we see these people fighting so hard against all odds, people who have the ability, have the influence, should step in to give us a helping hand. And that's exactly what she did.
And the fact that this award is being handed to you, to all the protesters in Hong Kong, in fact, how significant is that it's taking place in Canada?
Well, it is because there is a forum here. I was invited to speak at the forum, and then, of course, we also have another person here receiving the award, the Deputy Convener of the Civil and Human Rights Front, Mr. Figo Chan. And we are very, very happy that the board of the Halifax Forum, Mrs. McCain, who has recently joined the board, decided to do this at this very critical juncture because the turmoil in Hong Kong is entering its 6th month. So almost half a year. And tomorrow, Sunday in Hong Kong, we're supposed to have elections. And I hope the Hong Kong government of Carrie Lam will not cancel or postpone the elections. So the atmosphere is very tense. And of course, protesters are tired. And over 4,000 have been arrested. Many are injured. So at this very critical juncture, when China is breathing down our neck, it's very good that the Canadians and Americans and people from over 80 countries attending the forum here are saying, "Hey, Hong Kong, go, go, we support you." That's marvelous.
You mentioned the district council elections that take place tomorrow. Do you really think there's a possibility that Carrie Lam, the chief executive, could cancel those elections?
Well, I mean, this threat has been hanging over us all these weeks, but I hope they will not be cancelled. The European Union issued a statement 1 or 2 weeks ago saying it should not be cancelled. Otherwise, there would be devastating consequences. And I hope the Canadian government, your Prime Minister, Trudeau, and members of Parliament, and the Americans, President Trump, and members of Congress, and members of the civilized and democratic world will all speak out. If there's a chance for election, let the people speak peacefully via the ballot box. And of course, I want the whole situation in Hong Kong to de-escalate, to dial down, so that we can find a peaceful resolution. on the way out. I mean, people are sick and tired of being beaten up by the police and the threat of having the People's Liberation Army unleashed onto the streets of Hong Kong. There's a lot of tension, a lot of anxiety in Hong Kong, and it's good that I can come to Halifax to air the people's concerns.
May I ask you, though, because the pushback from some that we're hearing is that they believe protesters are really, what they're asking for here is independence from the People's Republic. Is that what you want exactly here?
Well, of course, I have said it here in Halifax several times and many times on television. The Hong Kong people, the vast majority, are not asking for independence. And if the Chinese government propaganda machine tells you, don't believe it. We are asking the Chinese government to keep the promise to us and to the world of one country, two systems, whereby the people of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region can continue to enjoy our freedoms, the rule of law, personal safety. All these things are promised by the Chinese government. But now, why are the people so frightened? Why are they protesting? Is that they are afraid that all these things that are promised will be taken away from us very soon. And it will be one country, one systems. And the people of Hong Kong don't want that.
I do want to ask you, because as you say, these protests have now been going on for several months. Here you have the People's Republic, which is a very powerful country economically, politically around the world. Do you think you are getting enough support from the global community? Perhaps people are fearful of angering China.
Well, of course there are governments, there are politicians who are afraid to upset China because they want to make more money. Money is a very powerful force, but we hope these governments, these politicians also understand there is a thing called universal core values, things that their own people also support. So we're getting support. I always would like more. I would like it to come from the mouth of your Prime Minister, Trudeau, and from your parliamentarians, from the Americans, from the Europeans, the Australians, from the Japanese, the New Zealanders. So I hope the free world will come to help Hong Kong.